Warriors NRL Fanatics here, back today with my NRL tips for round 15. Now, sorry about that before, that my laptop went flat, so yeah, I'll have to restart and do it all over again. But let's get into it. My NRL tips for round 15. Now, there's some pretty predictable games, and there's some pretty hard games to call this week. So, yeah, a lot of interesting games this week, but let's get into it. Starting off on Thursday, the 17th of June, it's the Brisbane Broncos versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs. It's at Suncorp Stadium at Brisbane. Look, for the Brisbane Broncos last week, very disappointing. It's the Canberra Raiders. They went down to the Canberra Raiders, I believe it was 38 points to 16. The Rabbitohs, look, they won 24 points to 10 over the Newcastle Knights down there at Stadium Australia in Sydney. Now, I'm going to have to tip here the Rabbitohs here. The Rabbitohs should be far too good for the South Sydney Rabbitohs down there at Suncorp Stadium, along with the Rabbitohs by 26 points. And my anytime try scorers, I've gone with Cody Walker, Alex Johnston, and Latrell Mitchell. Now, moving on to Friday night footy, there's two games. The first game is the Cowboys versus the Sharks on Friday, the 18th of June. It's at Queensland Country Bank Stadium up there in Townsville. Now, for the Cowboys last week, very disappointing performance against the Manly Seagulls. Now, they started off pretty well. They were up, 12 points to 0 early on, but, they got flogged massively, 50 points to 16. That was the final score. Look, the Cowboys should be favourites in this one at home. They should be favourites. The Cronulla Sharks, look, they coming off a win over the Penrith Panthers, beat the Penrith Panthers by 1 point. It was a Sean Johnson field goal, 19 points to 18. They fought off a very hard, valiant effort from Penrith, an understrength Penrith, and they won courtesy of Sean Johnson's field goal. But they'll go into this game with massive confidence. Now, they are sitting ninth spot on the ladder at the moment, so they're finding their way up the ladder before a potential charge for a top 8, the Sharks. So the Cowboys, they're sitting in 7th spot on the ladder at the moment. They're sitting in 7th spot. And the Cowboys really should be favourites to win this at home. But I'm going to tip an upset here. Sorry, Nick from Australia. I know you're a Cowboys fan, but I'm going to tip an upset here. I think the Sharks, coming off that win last week, they'll be pretty confident. And, Sean Johnson's in great form last week. So I'm picking them to win this one here. Sharks by 12. And my anytime try scores, I've gone with Ronaldo Mulatalo, Blake Brayley, and Sean Johnson to score. So, yeah, my pick's Sharks by 12. Now, moving on to the next game, it's the Penrith Panthers versus the Sydney Roosters down there at Bluebet Stadium in Penrith. The Penrith Panthers last week, they're coming off a surprising loss to the Cronulla Sharks. 1 point loss, two losses in a row now. So, it's not often you say Penrith lost 2 games in a row, but they lost 2 games. So, yeah, say what you can say about that. But, Penrith, they're under strength in that game. So, not taking anything away from Cronulla, but they were under strength. Now, going into this game, the Sydney Roosters, they last week had a good win, I believe. They had a good win. The retirement of Boyd Cordner during the week, this will definitely motivate the Sydney Roosters, and it would not surprise me if they get up and win this game up there in Penrith. But I'm going to tip Penrith to bounce back at home. I'm going to go with the Penrith Panthers to win in a very close game, actually. I think it'll be very close. I'm going with the Panthers by 8 points. So Panthers by 8. Now my anytime try scorers in this one, I've gone with Daniel Tupou, Charlie Staines, Brian To'o, and James Fisher-Harris. Now, moving on to Saturday, the 19th, was it 19th? No, the 9th, yes, the 19th. Sorry, 19th of June is the Newcastle Knights versus the New Zealand Warriors at McDonald Jones Stadium. Now, I won't talk about this game too much because I'm going to do a full preview of this with a guest, possibly, if I can organise something there. But, yeah, I won't do a full-on preview tonight, but I'll just give you guys my tip for this one. And I'm going to tip the Warriors here by 6 points. I'm going to back my team. I'm going to back the Warriors in here. Warriors by 6. Anytime try scorers, I'm going to go with Reece Walsh to score on his return. And Ewan Aitken and Adam Fanua Blake to cross over. Now, moving on to the next game, and it sees the Dragons versus the Canberra Raiders down there at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. And, the Canberra Raiders, they had a great win over the Brisbane Broncos down there in Canberra last week. They were far too good. The Dragons, very disappointing, very, very surprised that they lost to the Canterbury Bulldogs by such a big margin. They will want to bounce back in this game, and they will have to. Otherwise, they might not make the top 8 at the end of the year. So, even though this is a Dragons home game and they will be favourites going into this, I'm going to pick an upset here. I'm going to pick the Canberra Raiders to win this by 2 points. Anytime try scorers, I'm going to go with Semi Valemei, Jack Whiten, and Josh Papali. Now, moving on to the next game, which is the Melbourne Storm versus the West Tigers at Sunshine Coast Stadium. Now, look, there's not really much to say about this one. The Melbourne Storm looked far too good for the Warriors last week. The West Tigers, they were very disappointing against the Parramatta Eels. I'm going to tip the Melbourne Storm rather comfortably to win this by 30 points. Nico Hines to score a try, Jerome Hughes and Harry Grant. Moving on to Sunday, the 20th of June, sees the Parramatta Eels versus the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. The Bulldogs coming off an upset victory over the Dragons. Great win for the Bulldogs. Jack Averillo had a great game for the Bulldogs. He absolutely was the main player that got them over the line there against the Dragons. Parramatta Eels, look, they had a great win over the West Tigers, the arch rivals. Look, I'm going to tip the Parramatta Eels here to win, but, you never know with the Bulldogs what they're going to do, whether they're going to turn up or not. But I'm going to tip Parramatta. They should be far too good here for the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Parramatta Eels by 16 points. Anytime try scorers, I've gone with Tom Opachek, Wanga Blake, and Joey Lussick. The next game on Sunday sees the Gold Coast Titans versus the Manly Seagulls down there at Cbus Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. Look, I found this game very hard to tip, actually. Very hard to call. I know, you might be saying Manly should win this rather comfortably. But, look, the Gold Coast Titans last week, they were outplayed by the Sydney Roosters for most of that game. But they managed to almost snatch it against the Sydney Roosters. They almost managed to pull it out of the hat and steal that result. But it's on the Gold Coast, so the Titans should be confident here. But I'm going to have to tip the Manly Seagulls here to win. I don't think it'll be a flogging. I think Manly will win this one in a very comfortable win, but it will be close. I'm going to say Manly by 4 points. Manly by 4. Anytime try scorers have gone with Tommy Trbojevic, Jason Sebb, Philip Sammy, and Brian Kelly are my anytime try scorers. So I'll go through them now, go through my tips again for those who haven't seen them already. So I've gone with the Rabbitohs by 26 points. My anytime try scorers, I said, were Cody Walker, Alex Johnston, and Latrell Mitchell. And for the Cowboys-Sharks game, I've gone with the Sharks by 12. Ronaldo Mulatalo, Blake Brayley, and Sean Johnson. For the Panthers-Roosters game, I've gone with the Panthers by 8. Daniel Tupou, Charlie Staines, Brian To'o, and James Fisher-Harris. And for the Saturday games, I've gone with the Warriors by 6. Reece Walsh, Ewan Aitken, and Adam Fanua-Blake. And the Dragons Raiders, I've gone with the Raiders by 2. Semi Valemei, Jack Whiten, and Josh Papali. And for the Melbourne Storm Tigers game for Saturday, I've gone with Nico Hines, Jerome Hughes, and Harry Grant. Now for the Sunday games, I've gone with Parramatta Eels by 16, Tom Opachek, Wanga Blake, and Joey Lussick. And for the Titans-Manly game, I've gone with Manly by 4, Tommy Trbojevic, Jason Sebb, Philip Sammy, and Brian Kelly. So, that's my NRL tips for round 15. Let me know your tips in the comment section if you're watching this back. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Like the video as well. And I'll see you guys for another video soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.